Hi, grade 4-5. I'm coming to you from my office, and it's actually Tuesday that I'm videotaping this because this week I am going to be in Edmonton for a conference, so I won't be in to teach writing workshop to you. I'm really disappointed about that, but it is what it is, so I thought the best way to go about it is to teach you through this video. So what we were working on last day is we were working on event writing. We talked about seed stories and watermelon stories, and we decided to pick a single event and really zoom in on that event and write a little bit about it. So the first thing that we're going to do today is we're going to partner up with our writing partners. That's the first thing we're going to do. Once we get our writing notebooks, we're going to partner up on the carpet, sit knee to knee. No, actually we're going to sit side by side because you're sharing your writing. You want your partner to be able to read with you as you're reading and sharing your event and what you've written about so far. And you may have only had a chance to do a couple of sentences, and that's totally fine. But we are going to move on to the next thing, which is connecting to me afterwards. So right now, it's writing workshop, taking 5 minutes to share your stories with your partner. And then if Mrs. Olsen would like to have you pick certain people to come and share the stories that they've written so far and share their picture, that would be fantastic. So that's what we're going to do. Sorry, I wasn't there to get in on the sharing and listening to your stories, so I look forward to reading them and looking at your pictures when I get back. The next thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to start writing about ourselves. But before we do that, I have this picture book that I'd like to share with you. It's actually via a YouTube video, and it's called Not Your Typical Dragon. And it's a hilarious story. I just think it's so funny, and it's really about being unique. And I want you to think about the uniqueness of this dragon in this story, because you're going to be writing about yourselves in the next little sequence, and I'll walk you through what it is you're supposed to be doing with that. But I really want you to think about the things that are unique about you. We're going to be writing about what you look like, what you're like on the inside, your personality, things that you're good at that you can do, and who you are as a person. And so all of these things are really critical and important because not only do I get to know who you are, but it's really important for you to think about all the great things about you. So please sit back and enjoy this story called Not Your Typical Dragon.
Not your typical dragon. Crispin Blaze was born into a proud family of fire-breathing dragons. Every blaze breathes fire, explained his father. I breathe fire. Your mother breathes fire. Tomorrow, when you turn 7, you'll breathe fire too. The little dragon imagined all the forests he would burn down. He dreamed of all the castles he would destroy. He also considered boiling water to make tea, but he didn't tell his father that. The next day, Crispin sat among family and friends as a big cake was brought to the table. "Who will light the birthday candles?" his mother asked. "I will," declared Crispin. He could feel it tingling inside his tummy, but when he opened his mouth, fire did not come out. Whipped cream came out. "Crispin!" shouted his father. "Dragons breathe fire!" "What will the neighbors think?" worried his mother. "I love whipped cream," said his little sister Ashley. The little dragon was whisked off to the doctor the very next day. "Please fix my son," demanded Crispin's father. "What seems to be the problem?" asked the doctor. Crispin opened his mouth and breathed, but fire did not come out. Band-aids came out. "I see," said the doctor gravely. "Dragons should breathe fire," insisted Crispin's father. "We were low on band-aids," mumbled the nurse. The doctor sent Crispin home with medicine. He swallowed 2 teaspoons before going to school. "It will help you become a real dragon," said his father with a wink. After school, Crispin joined his first fire-breathing practice. One by one, little dragons aimed their fiery breath at stacks of logs until they burst into flames. Crispin stepped up confidently. He could feel the medicine bubbling in his belly, but when he opened his mouth, fire did not come out. Marshmallows came out. "Dragons breathe fire," yelled the coach. "Isn't that right, class?" The other dragons didn't answer. They were too busy looking for pointy sticks for marshmallow roasting. "I guess I'm not a real dragon," Crispin thought. He worried that his family would be disappointed, so he ran away from home. The world can be a scary place for a little dragon who can't breathe fire. Crispin found a dark cave. I'll be a fireless dragon all by myself. I won't bother anyone, and no one will bother me. An hour later, he had a visitor. I am Sir George, squeaked a thin, shiny knight. Show yourself, dragon. Crispin shuffled out of the cave. The thin, shiny knight held up his thin, shiny sword. Do your worst, dragon. Crispin opened his mouth, but fire did not come out. Soap bubbles came out. Don't you breathe fire, dragon? Crispin shook his head. I can't. Sir George moaned. But my father insists that I fight a fire-breathing dragon. It even says here in my book that your typical dragon breathes fire. I'm not your typical dragon, Crispin explained. Sir George sighed. I can't go home. Me neither, Crispin nodded. But then he had an idea. Maybe your book could tell us what to do. Of course! Sir George searched through the pages. It says it's probably just your diet. Sir George fed Crispin spicy curry, scorching chili, and blistering salsa. Crispin opened his mouth, but fire did not come out. Red party streamers came out. At least they're the right color, said Sir George kindly. Sir George searched through the book again. Aha! It says it's probably your attitude. Sir George showed Crispin how to look mean and angry enough to breathe fire. Crispin opened his mouth, but fire did not come out. Soft, cuddly teddy bears came out. Said Sir George. We may have taken a step backward. It's no use, Crispin sighed. I'm just not your typical dragon. But Sir George was not ready to give up. Aha! The book says you're too stressed. Sir George made Crispin close his eyes while he described a quiet, relaxing day at the ocean. Do you feel calm? Now imagine 100 shiny knights attacking you. Crispin opened his mouth, but fire did not come out. Beach balls came out. Well, that's just plain weird. Secretly, Sir George was glad that Crispin couldn't breathe fire. He liked the little dragon and didn't want to fight him. Crispin liked the shiny knight, too, but he missed his parents. Sir George, it's getting dark. I want to go home. The shiny knight patted him on the back. Don't worry, little dragon. I will take you. Crispin's parents were relieved when he arrived home safely. Sir George was about to say goodbye when they heard a shout. There you are, boy! Why on earth are you playing with a fire-breathing dragon? He's my friend, Father, whispered Sir George, and besides, he doesn't breathe fire. A dragon that doesn't breathe fire? That's the silliest thing I've ever heard. The shiny man laughed. Crispin's father stormed out of the house. My son is not silly. He may not breathe fire, but I certainly do. Crispin's father let out a powerful spray of flames. Do your worst, dragon, declared the shiny man. But then the flames scorched the lawn. That's enough, honey, said Crispin's mother. The flames singed this fence. You've made your point, dear. Now stop showing off, she scolded. Then the flames ignited the roof. Crispin's father panicked. I can't stop breathing fire. You'll burn our house down, cried his mother. You'll burn the whole neighborhood. You'll burn down the whole neighborhood. Dragons came running from all directions. They knew how to start fires, but no one knew how to stop them. Crispin suddenly felt a tingling in his stomach. He felt a bubbling in his belly. He opened his mouth, but fire did not come out. A gush of water shot out. Crispin aimed the water at his father's flames. He saved his home, and he even saved the shiny man, who wasn't looking so shiny anymore. Hooray for Crispin, everyone shouted. On Crispin's next birthday there was a big party. Family and friends came from all over the land. Sir George and his family came too. Lots of dragons were dancing. Crispin stood with his mouth open wide. Fire did still not come out. Music came out instead. Your son, said an old uncle to Crispin's father, he's not your typical dragon, is he? No, replied Crispin's father proudly. My son is something special. And then he jumped up and danced to Crispin's music too.
Everybody. Now that we've had a chance to watch that video, I just thought it was really cute and really funny. I want to introduce to you the next assignment that we're going to be doing together, and it's called Connecting to Me. And this, everyone is going to get a sheet that looks like this, and I've drawn a picture of it on my whiteboard behind so I can illustrate what I want you to be thinking about. Okay, so everyone is going to get a planning page that looks exactly like this, and I'm going to walk you through the steps of how to complete it. And we're going to only look at 2 circles today and our planning related to that. Okay, so the whole idea is for you to use this sheet to help you brainstorm important things about yourself. Okay, so we're going to start with the easiest one, which is what I look like. Now for me, you want to be really descriptive. You don't want to talk about what you're wearing, but you do want to talk about your physical appearance. So I might write that I have red hair, but it depends on the day, because I do change my hair color a lot. Okay. I talk about that I have green eyes. That I have red lips, and I like to wear bright lipstick, although I'm not right now. I could also go into more detail and say my hair is cut to my chin. The other thing I suggested to other classes is if you have freckles or you have dimples, those are things you can add in. I don't have either of those, so I won't add those in at all. I could talk about the fact that I wear dark glasses. I might say I have a wide smile. I could say that I have, I'm short but strong. I could talk about the fact that I like to wear colorful nail polish. So what you're doing really is just listing a bunch of things to describe yourself. And I want you to come up with at least 5 or 6. That's really, really important. So right now, Mrs. Olsen is going to hand out to you this planning sheet. You are going to eventually fold it in half and tape it into your writing notebook. But you're going to start by just listing at the top. Oop, this is backwards in the video. Just listing like I did here about things that you look like. Okay, so you're going to go back to your desk and you're just going to start doing that part only. Okay? Oops, there we go. That's better. Okay, so now that you've brainstormed what you'll look like on the outside, let's focus on what you're like on the inside. This is personality. Okay, this is what you are like on the inside, the personality that you have. So for me, I might list things like I'm strict, and I'm strict at school, and I'm strict with my kids, but I'm also very loving. I think I'm a kind person, and I also think that I can be pretty funny. And the other thing is I'm quite emotional, and I do cry at sad things or happy things. I cry very easily, actually. My family always makes fun of me because I like to cry. But another thing just popped up for me and I don't want that. I'm just gonna drop that down. So these are all things that I am like on the inside. These are my personality pieces. So I'm strict, I'm loving, I'm kind, I'm funny, and I'm also emotional. I want you to go back to your desks if you're not already there. You might already be there. That's okay. I'm not there to see it, so I'm not sure. But you need to come up with 5 personality traits. It's not about things that you're good at, it's about your personality. Maybe also, here's another one, I'm very friendly. There's another one. So you might have to think about your personality and go back and do some planning related to that. So go ahead and do that now. Okay, everybody. Now that you've done your planning for what I look like on the outside and what I'm like on the inside, we're going to start doing our writing now. Okay? So in terms of writing, I want you to look at all the ideas that you have about what you look like. That's where we're going to start because that's probably the easiest place to start. Now, what you want to do is you want to write sentences and elaborate, dig deeper about what you look like. So I might start writing like this because I'm just thinking back to what I wrote down on my planning page before. I can start by saying, I have dark green eyes and long eyelashes. And then I'm going to dig a little bit deeper about that and say, people always compliment me on my pretty eyes. And then I'm going to start my sentence differently. I'm not going to do robot writing. I'm not going to have I have, I have, I have. So I'm going to try and start my next sentence with a different start. My hair is red, but sometimes it is different colors. Depending on what my hairdresser does. Okay, so I'm really digging deep, and notice I've only talked about 3 things, dark green eyes and long eyelashes. And then I've talked about my hair, and I've already written 3 sentences. So if you have 5 things, you might be able to write 6 or 7 or 8 sentences just about what you look like. I might also say, bright lipstick is what I wear on my lips to show off, my wide smile. So this gives you an idea of how you can start your writing. And I really want you to dig deep, and I want you to try and get a good 5 or 6 or 7 sentences, maybe even more, talking about all of those things. You're really digging deep and describing, giving lots of detail. The other thing I need you to remember is don't do robot writing. I have, I have, I have. Try and change up the beginning of the sentences like I've done here. Okay, my hair, I have, people always compliment me. Don't use exactly the same as what I have, but you have to try and start new ways of writing your paragraph. So what I want you to do now is go back to your writing notebook, find the next clean page, and I want you to write what it is that you're about yourself. So use your planning page again, go back and have this in front of you so you know what it is you're writing about, and I want you to start writing your paragraph about yourself. That's the first step, okay? Go ahead and get started on that. Okay, everyone, now that you've written about what you're like on the outside, your physical appearance, what we're going to look at is who I am, like what I'm like on the inside. Sorry, not who I am, what I'm like on the inside. This is your personality. So the writing has to be about the things about yourself that you know. So for example, I talk about the fact that I am funny, okay? So I'm going to start my writing about funny, being funny. People always tell me I am very funny. Okay? Now, remember when we talked about digging deeper and giving more detail? This is the personality trait that I have. I'm very funny. People always tell me I'm very funny. But the next sentence needs to be illustrating or talking about how that's the case. So think about it from the perspective, okay, so if I'm funny, what do I do that's funny? I love to tell jokes. Act silly. And my favorite thing to do is laugh. Now, I'm not robot writing. I am funny. I am kind. I am strict. I am loving. I'm not listing those things like a list. I'm actually talking about it and giving examples. People always tell me I am very funny. I love to tell jokes, act silly, and my favorite thing to do is laugh. That illustrates that I am funny. Now the next thing is that I'm loving. My boys think I am both strict and loving. Okay? So I need to illustrate me being strict and me being loving. Sometimes I have lots of chores for them to do. And they don't really like that. Or they don't really like to do them. Other times, I give them a break and do their chores for them. Okay, now do you see the difference? I've talked about being funny, I've talked about being strict and loving, and I've written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sentences about 3 personality traits. So I'm not just listing them, I'm talking about the trait or who I am on the inside and then elaborating, giving more detail and examples as I'm writing. So your job is to go to a second page, okay, you can flip to the next page, and you can write your paragraph about what you're like on the inside. And that should probably take you through both of the classes for the days. Okay, so that's pretty much what we have going on.